Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a silent, moonlit lake. The water is so still it reflects the stars perfectly, no ripples, no distortions. You whisper a question into the night, something raw, something aching. Why isn't anything changing? You've done everything right. The morning affirmations, the vision boards, the relentless hustle. You've read the books, followed the steps, forced yourself to believe harder. And yet nothing. The universe remains silent. The life you crave stays just out of reach, like a mirage that dissolves the moment you stretch your hands toward it. Here's the paradox: the more you chase, the further it runs. The harder you try to force transformation, the more it slips through your fingers. You've been told that effort equals reward, that control equals security. But what if the very act of striving is what's keeping you stuck? What if the answer isn't in doing more, but in stopping? Not stopping as in giving up, stopping as in surrendering. Letting the weight of your exhaustion collapse into the earth. Letting the armor of your effort crack open. What if the silence you fear isn't abandonment, but an invitation? Carl Jung once wrote, "What you resist persists." And here you are, resisting stillness, resisting silence, resisting the terrifying possibility that the key wasn't in your hands all along, it was buried in the quiet depths you've been too afraid to face. So ask yourself, what if the universe isn't ignoring you, it's waiting for you to listen? What if the love, the success, the peace you seek can't be grabbed, only received? And what if the moment you stop begging for a sign is the moment it finally appears? The lake doesn't answer. The stars don't speak. But something shifts in the silence, something beneath the surface, beneath the noise of your striving. And that's where the real work begins. The real tragedy isn't that you're stuck, it's that you were never taught how to move forward in the first place. From childhood, you were conditioned to believe in a simple equation: effort equals reward, control equals security, hustle equals success. Society drills this into us, a relentless drumbeat of do more, be more, prove your worth. But beneath this lies a darker, more insidious truth: we are addicted to struggle. Why? Because struggle gives us the illusion of control. If we can just try harder, we can outrun our fears, our unworthiness, our deepest insecurities. But this is the trap, the mind's desperate attempt to avoid the one thing it fears most: surrender. Carl Jung saw this clearly. He called it the shadow, the unconscious parts of ourselves we refuse to face. We chase external validation, material success, even spiritual growth, not because we truly desire these things, but because we're running from the void inside. Nietzsche warned of this too: whoever fights monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster. In our quest to fix ourselves, we become slaves to the very systems we hoped would free us. Modern culture worships productivity, but it's a false god. The more you achieve, the more you need to achieve. The more you prove, the more you need to prove. It's a hunger that never fills you, only exhausts you. And here's the cruelest twist: your nervous system has been trained to equate suffering with progress. If it doesn't hurt, if it isn't hard, it must not be working. So you cling to struggle, mistaking it for growth. But what if the real work isn't about climbing the mountain? What if it's about realizing you were never meant to carry it in the first place? The most dangerous illusions are the ones we don't know we're believing. You wake each morning with that familiar tension in your chest, the unshakable sense that you should be doing more, becoming more, proving more. It follows you through your day like a shadow, whispering that you're not enough until you collapse into bed exhausted, only to repeat the cycle tomorrow. This isn't just stress, it's psychological captivity. Neuroscience reveals a terrifying truth. When we constantly operate in survival mode, our brain's prefrontal cortex, the seat of wisdom and clarity, literally dims. Like a muscle atrophied from overuse, your ability to think clearly weakens under the weight of perpetual striving. You become trapped in what psychologists call the effort paradox. The harder you try to escape, the deeper you sink. Consider these silent casualties of our cultural obsession with effort. The creativity killer. Studies show that breakthrough ideas come in moments of rest, yet we've pathologized idleness as laziness. The emotional debt. By constantly overriding your body's signals to slow down, you accumulate stress that manifests as anxiety, illness, and burnout. The mirage effect. Like a desert traveler chasing water, the more you pursue external validation, the further authentic fulfillment recedes. Worst of all, this conditioning runs so deep we mistake it for reality. We've been taught that struggle is noble, that suffering is necessary for growth. But what if we've confused the scaffolding for the structure, the pain for the process? Jean-Paul Sartre saw this clearly. Hell is other people, not because people are cruel, but because we internalize their expectations until we can no longer distinguish their voices from our own. Your exhaustion isn't a personal failing. It's the inevitable result of living out of alignment with your nature. The body keeps score, and it's been screaming at you to stop. The question is, will you listen before the reckoning comes for you? The way out is not forward, it's down. Not down into despair, but down into the depths you've spent your whole life avoiding. This is where the rebellion begins. Not with another self-help hack, not with a new productivity system, but with the radical act of doing nothing. History's greatest thinkers knew this secret. The Buddha sat under a tree and stopped. Rumi abandoned scholarly prestige to whirl in ecstatic surrender. Carl Jung spent years in self-imposed isolation, wandering the shores of Lake Zurich, letting his psyche unravel so it could reweave itself anew. They understood what we've forgotten. Transformation doesn't come from effort. It comes from allowing. Here's how to start your own quiet revolution. 1. Break the trance of productivity. Your worth is not measured in output. The cult of busyness is a myth designed to keep you exhausted and distracted. Try this. For one day, do only what feels alive to you. Not what you should do, what your body wants to do. Notice the guilt that arises. That guilt is your prison. 2. Let your nervous system reset. Chronic striving keeps you locked in fight or flight mode. Your body doesn't know the difference between, I have to finish this project, and I'm being chased by a tiger. Practice physiological sighs. 2 sharp inhales through the nose, 1 long exhale through the mouth. This is how you signal safety to a body that's forgotten what safety feels like. 3. Stop seeking permission. You've been waiting for a sign, for the universe to bless your next move. But what if the sign is the absence of one? What if the silence isn't withholding? It's waiting for you to realize you never needed permission in the first place. 4. Embrace creative stillness. Great art, ideas, and breakthroughs don't come from force. They emerge from the spaces between effort. Let yourself stare out the window. Take long walks with no destination. The magic happens when you stop chasing it. This isn't laziness. This is strategic surrender, the kind that terrifies the ego because it means relinquishing control. But control was always an illusion. The moment you stop grasping, the moment you unclench your fists, is the moment life can finally place something real in your hands. Here's the secret that changes everything. You are not becoming. You are remembering. All this time, you thought enlightenment was something to achieve, wholeness something to earn, peace something to chase. But the most radical truth, the one that unravels every spiritual struggle, is that you already are what you seek. This isn't metaphor. This is neuroscience. Your brain is wired to detect lack, to scan for what's missing, an evolutionary relic that once kept you alive but now keeps you trapped. Meanwhile, your nervous system, when allowed to rest, already knows how to return to equilibrium. Your body, when not forced into exhaustion, already knows how to heal. The mystics called this anamnesis, the forgetting of what we once knew. Jung called it individuation, the return to the self we abandoned to fit in. The Taoists called it wu wei, effortless action that flows when we stop interfering. Consider this. When you stop trying to be loved, you realize you were loved. When you stop forcing abundance, you notice it was always flowing to you. When you stop seeking validation, you uncover a worth that was never in question. The final rebellion isn't against the world, it's against the lie that you were ever incomplete. Every spiritual practice, every therapy session, every moment of suffering was never about fixing you. It was about peeling back the layers of conditioning until you recognized yourself again. So here's the invitation. Stop. Breathe. Let the weight of striving fall away like a coat you never needed. The lake is still. The stars are watching. And in the silence, something ancient within you stirs, not because it was lost, but because you've finally come home. The journey ends where it began, with the realization that there was never anywhere to go. You are already free. The only question left is, will you live like you know it?